Alright fellas, here we are back in Pokemon Masters, and so tomorrow we're going to be getting the release of Chuck and Poliwrath, our second Spotlight sync pair for this little triple release or whatever. You know, we got Malva first, very nice sprint sync pair, first triple sprint sync pair. Chuck is a little bit less unique in the fact that he is just a physical striker, but he is a general physical strike with the Sprinty X roll. That's pretty unique, and we will take that. That's very nice. And Chuck is easily the best. I think he's just the best striker in the game. Sorry, no, not even that. Best fighting striker in the game. Sorry. Mostly for that title may seem a little glorious, but or glamorous, but like if we look at the fighting strike options. Oh, okay, sorry, Bianca exists. My bad. I forgot Bianca. No, he's not better than Bianca. He's better than the rest though. Like his only real competition, I would say, is probably B. But even then, I think he just does better than B. And like Guzma, he's kind of just better than Guzma. Like in pretty much all regards, he's kind of just better than Guzma. Like honest to God. Anyway, whatever. So let's go ahead and look at his kit so I can kind of back up my statements here. Again, probably, you know, not a character you're going to be summoning for, which is fair enough, right? But I do think he's legitimately strong. Like for Spotlight standards, this guy is pretty fucking strong. It's crazy. But he's a physical striker, Sprinty X roll fighting type. He drops on the Spotlight Scout on the 14th and leaves October 6th. Same little annoyance as Malva, where they're not going to be on the same banner as the end of September or beginning of August sync pairs. Their banners, they're not going to be on those. Sadly, they will be on the fall sync pair banners. That is nice, I guess, assuming they don't change up, you know, release dates and release fall super early. But you know, whatever. So at least they should be there. And of course, Onward, right? Stat-wise, with no EX investment, you're just 5-star stats, 684 health, 390 attack, 146 and 144 in the defenses, 283 speed, not great speed, very not great defenses, but that's kind of, you know, expected of a striker, general pull striker at least. With 6-star X investment, 430 offenses, 185-ish in both defenses, 784 health, and 323 speed. Definitely helps out a lot. You know, the offense is, you know, a lot better. The defenses have been improved a good bit. I would not say they are great, but they're definitely, you know, this helps. The HP is fine. And then level 150, of course, nearly 200 in the defenses, over 800 health, 450 attack, 337 speed. These aren't bad stats for general pull standards, and the Sprinty X roll, of course, helps out a lot too. More speed, a little bit more attack, and some more HP too. 470 attack is, you know, very, very strong for sure. So he's got a good offensive stat going with him under the proper investment. You know, even without the Sprinty X roll, 450 attack, that's still good. So that's awesome. Good start. His passives. Pokemon move physical boost up 1/4. 50% chance to increase the user's physical moves next by 1 rank when the Pokemon uses a move. Already, you know, he's got a good form of offensive enhancement. A 50% chance for physical moves next every turn. That's going to be a good net increase in damage. Critical Eye. Raises crit when the user's move is successful. Okay, he's got completely self-sufficient on the crit. That's nice. Water Guard. Reducing damage received by water attack. This is mostly just a gauntlet ability. Maybe like an ability if you want to use him in like Argenta's Ultimate Battle. But probably mostly just going to be something for the gauntlet. What water types are there in the gauntlet? I can't even fucking think about it. I know there's got to be one. I just can't think of it. Anyway, whatever. Not really the point. Ironically, Suicune's like the only of the beasts that isn't in the legendary. Anyway, whatever. So, anyway. Looking at his moves. Dynamic Punch. 4 gauge, 198 power move, 50 accuracy, leaves the target confused. Okay. Pretty much a 200 base power move. It does have 50% accuracy, but it does leave the enemy confused. And, you know, last character we had a pretty bad gimmick with it, where he pretty much wanted to miss, which, okay, it's not a bad gimmick, it's a fine gimmick, but it overall doesn't net out to being super crazy with how his physical moves next buffs works. So Chuck opted to do this funny little thing called Not Karen, and buffs his accuracy by 6. I forget the exact increment of how accuracy increases work. I need to honestly remember that. But this buffs his accuracy to like +6, giving Dynamic Punch a far, far better chance of actually landing, and it's going to make his damage a whole lot more consistent than Guzma's, probably. And that's mostly why I'm thinking he's probably the best non-Bianca fighting striker in the game. I mean, I don't think it's even competition between Marshall, Bruno, Karina, and... I mean, Wally maybe, but, like, I really doubt it. But then B as well. Like, B's got a similarly powerful damaging option, but she also has no multipliers to work off of. Okay, she's got Critical Strike 3, but Chuck also has multipliers to work off of when we get to his grid. And also a slightly better offensive stat as well via the level 150 investment and the EX roll too. And of course the move is still slightly more powerful, so he's actually working off of better damage than B, but B's also got probably better gauge management. That's nice, I guess. Anyway, also again, buffing attack by 4 here, so he's got full crit self-sufficiency, plus 4 attack, plus 6 accuracy, so he does have full self-sufficiency in his stats, other than, you know, plus 2 attack. Rock Smash for a 50% chance to debuff defense if you do want to do that, and Protect for damage guard next, could be good for protecting against some, you know, powerful attack, whatever you want to do there, right? And then, of course, he has no innate sync effect, being a striker, but of course, you know, Sprint EX does give him -3 sync countdown. Yep, that's nice, I guess. So, yeah, he's just a 1 out of 5 here. I mean, he's already working off of a 200 base power move, pretty much. 400, you know, 50-ish offensive stat. Physical moves next buffs in here from the passive skills and full self-sufficiency. That is nice, for sure. And that's not even including the grid, right? Granted, I'm not saying you should summon for Chuck, but I am saying if you do pull Chuck and you're, you know, lacking on like fighting type damaging options, you know, taps the microphone. Him right here, this guy, he's gonna be helpful. He's gonna be pretty helpful for that. Anyway, moving on. 1 out of 5 grids pretty much just got nothing. Acuity, I mean, that's honestly helpful. Granted, all things considered. 2 out of 5, he does get protect catalyzing infliction. This does apply gauge acceleration when using a status move. That does help out with his, you know, 4 gauge move here. That is going to be helping out there for the damage. So that's helpful. Duh. That's awesome. I wouldn't say awesome, but I mean, it's helpful. Mad Strength 9 for attack buffs. That's going to help him max out his attack. That is going to be helpful too. Churn Move NPR. I mean, this can also max out your attack as well. Sure. Try to move Fleet Feet, +2 speed. Again, this is more gauge stuff. This is mostly just probably gauge stuff for, like, I mean, just in general purposes is nice, but also, again, this is probably mostly helpful for, like, the Legendary Gauntlet. Those speed buffs are, you know, stages where that really kind of matters. And Gauge Refresh 2 on Rock Smash and Dynamic Punch is going to be equally helpful. Natural Remedy for preventing status conditions, Quick Cure for removing status changes and conditions, Protect, Gauge Refresh 9, you know, Defense +10, I guess. Just some random nodes mostly. I'd say the ability to max his attack is good, and the Gauge Acceleration on Protect is also pretty good. But other than that, not really too much worth considering here, especially for a damage-dealing character. Again, the attack buffs are really the only thing considerable here. But 3 out of 5, he gains Sync Nodes, Interference Sync 9, Confusion Synergy 3, Dynamic Punch, Gauge Refresh 9, Defense Crush 9 on Rock Smash, Rejuvenate 6, and +20 attack here, Churn Move Super Preparation, and the Protect Physical Boost here. Okay, so as I said, 30% multiplier, already beating out B because he's got a slightly higher damaging move, same amount of multipliers, slightly higher offensive stat, and then he's got the physical moves next as well here. So that just makes the difference. Already better than B in terms of DPS. Maybe not Nuke. I don't think Nuke. I would have to fact check that. But she's got, yeah, she's got a better Nuke for sure. I think. Yeah, she's got a better Nuke. I have to think about that. Yeah, Critical Strike 3 plus Critical Strike 2 plus the Inertia is slightly better than Interference Sync, so I mean, yeah, whatever. Anyway. So, slightly better Nuke on B's end, but Chuck's got overall better damage per second. Anyway. Interference Sync 9 here for a 90% Sync Nuke multiplier. That's not really that great, but I mean, at this point, he's mostly focused on solid physical, like, damage, you know, over time. Not really, like, damage with his Sync Nuke. He's not really that big burst damage dealer. He mostly just focuses on DPS, that's it. But, I mean, still, 90% multiplier, that's fine. If you're going to run him as your central damage dealer, 90% will be fine enough for any on-type fighting stage for the most part, other than, like, maybe Palmer, obviously. In which case, you're going to be probably running him with far better partners anyway, like Champion Bianca. Anyway. So there's that. Rejuvenate 6, just more gauge efficiency stuff. They're really giving him quite a bit of this stuff, you know, make him being a spotlight character where a lot of his uses is limited to like on-type battles, like, you know, Champion Stadium and whatnot, or at least that's what they're mostly probably going to be relegating him to, though he probably will do very solid off-type damage himself, at least in stadium areas, but also giving him these gauge efficient abilities does help him in some other modes like the Legendary Gauntlet. That does help there, so it does, you know, just give these characters a little bit more use in modes other than just basically a playground. If you do want to, of course, you know, run budgeting. Rock Smash Defense Crush 9, faster defensive debuffs. He sadly does not have Honor Roll in Rock Smash, so we are pretty much just stuck with a 50% chance to debuff defense, but of course, 50% chance plus the guaranteed defense debuff. Still, it's not a bad chance for debuffing defense for sure. He's got Super Preparation on the training move, again, if stated. I mean, this is fine, I guess, but really you're probably going to be using the training move super early on. You're going to be getting this super effective next super early on, and you're not really going to save it for your Sync Nuke because the Sync Nuke's not that powerful, and you know, the next Dynamic Punch you land, it's going to be without any sync buffs. It's probably going to be without a ton of enhancement, but via like rebuff, zone, or like defensive debuffs, physical moves next, that type of stuff. You're probably not going to have a whole lot of that being super early on in the battle. So this node, I mean, when you're using the trying to move super early on, isn't going to be that great, I don't think. But I mean, I guess it's there. Sure. The Protect physical moves next. This is pretty much training move super preparation, but just better, frankly. Like, this gives you the +2 physical moves next, and that's going to be increasing your Dynamic Punch damage pretty much whenever you want. Obviously, you're going to be using Protect whenever like it really counts, whenever you need those protection, you know, the type of protection from damage, big damaging attacks. That's when you're going to be using Protect. And then for using Protect, you're also going to get +2 physical moves next. Your next Dynamic Punch is going to be hitting hard. That's great. I mean, I think that's just far more valuable to pick up than like super preparation. I would just mostly ignore this entire side. And if you're trying to go for like just raw damage, probably ignore the entire bottom side in general, other than like the Sync node. And honestly, frankly, I wouldn't even worry about the Sync node, all things considered. Expensive ass tiles, man. Jesus. Yeah, honestly, just sure. I guess there's the. I guess there's the grid to run, honestly. I'm not really too sure. If you're not going to be running him with, like, an offensive buffer that can max his attack, probably just sacrifice, like, the physical boost or something, or, like, sacrifice all nuking stuff just in general, because, again, it's not really that great. Pick up Match Strength, pick up the +20 attack tile, and then maybe, again, also just probably actually do pick up the physical moves next boosting tile here if you want to, or maybe the Rock Smash Defense Crush if you do need those defensive debuffs, that type of thing. I am a little bit worried the more I think about it, about Dynamic Punch's accuracy, even under +6 accuracy, because unless I'm wrong, the way accuracy works in this game is that one stage of accuracy is equal to 10%, an additional 10% of what the original accuracy was, which in this case, 10% chance to land Dynamic Punch is going to be 5%, so 50% plus 5% for +1 accuracy. That's 55%, right? 50 plus 5%. And then, of course, under +6 accuracy, that's like 80, which is not bad. 80 accuracy is not bad, but also 80 accuracy can still be a little bit annoying to deal with, obviously, right? So I can't think of any characters that immediately off the top of my head make moves easier to land. I think there's obviously like sure hit characters, I believe. Like I think Costume Steve, it applies the no evasion effect to target. So if you do have characters that have like the no evasion effect, that's going to be helpful there. Or debuffing enemies' evasiveness, right? Like that's obviously a big, obvious one. Now that I think about it, lowering enemy evasiveness is going to help. But a lot of those are kind of out of the way. I think Costume Steven's a good partner because of his, you know, physical moves next enhancement, super effective next enhancement, all that junk, defensive debuffs, blah blah blah. But also then you got another thing to work with Chuck is the no evasion. I think it's no evasion. I could just straight up be wrong. I could be misremembering, but I'll fact check that. Does Costume Steven have no evasion? Yeah, applies no evasion effect to the target, so that does, you know, help out there. And then probably a few other things. Like, I mean, you could give him sure hit by whatever character is actually able to do that. I can't think of any off the top of my head. Like, Guzma's got sure hit next. Or sorry, X sure hit, but that's kind of different. Anyway, whatever. So other than, like, dealing with about, if I remember how, again, these bonuses in accuracy work, 80% accuracy pretty much for Dynamic Punch, assuming you've got max accuracy, which you should. Chuck's good. That's probably Chuck's real only issue as a damage dealing general pull character. He's gonna be doing good damage for being general pull. Like, that's just a fact. He's the best fighting striker other than Bianca. You know, sorry, I guess best non-Master Fair fighting striker. I legitimately think he's just gonna be better, or at least more consistent than Costume Guzma. He's got a better offensive stat, right? He's got a better offensive stat. He's actually able to use the damage consistently, and while Guzma does get physical moves next, it's in the, you know, bursts where he actually has to miss his moves. So it's a give and take with him. I think Chuck's just going to be, at the very least, more consistent, and at, you know, absolute best, just better damage than Guzma, you know, over time, right? So that's awesome to see, honestly, that he is, at least in my opinion, as good as he is. If it wasn't for the fact that I don't really care for this character, other than the fact that, you know, he's relatively solid for being a general pull character, I would pick him up. I didn't even pick up Malva, though, and I actually do like Malva as a character, so it just goes to show you how non-enticing Spotlight characters are, both kit-wise and the fact that they're going to be going into the general pool. And that's not a reason to make try to make these banners a little bit more valuable, or, well, okay, make them more valuable, sure, that's okay with me, but this is not to say quit releasing spotlights. Please keep releasing spotlights. If I can give some tips on how to make these characters more appealing to go for on a release, trust me. But whatever, that's not really the point. So yeah, that's my thoughts about Chuck and Poliwrath. Let me know what you think about them down in the comments below. Not a bad spotlight sync pair at all. And yeah, I'll see you all later. I hope y'all enjoyed. Happy day for Chuck fans. Peace.